We're back, and we have a top 25 for you. Zach and Trevor with you at the California's downtown studios. Preseason top 25s. Let's face it, your preseason volleyball top 10, these things are difficult. I mean, I think anybody's, you can look at Andy Bogart, you can look at Nick Papagni, you can look at mine. At the end of the year, you're going to look back at our preseason rankings, and you're going to laugh at least a couple of teams in there.
These are high school kids. A lot of them quit.
Well, it's
they
not
don't
even that.
play the same way they did before.
Yeah.
A lot of times, too, we don't really know what's going on in Tulare. We don't really know what's going on in Visalia. Sometimes we don't know what's going on in Fresno and Clovis.
That's exactly
We try
it.
to do our best and use the information that we have the most. I mean, obviously, we have the most information of the teams here in Kern County. We do our best just to kind of get some teams out there, and then we move forward.
And frankly, somebody's going to have a star we don't know about. Somebody's going to have a star who's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to have a star who's not going to play well for whatever reason, or who isn't even playing, and we don't even know it yet. And sometimes coaches don't want to tell you these things until it becomes obvious.
Or a transfer happens that nobody knows about.
These are just the sort of things that make it difficult. But having said that, they are fun. We're going to do our best. They're a starting point for us. These are going to get shaken up a lot probably in the next 2-3 weeks. But here we go. Number 25. D4 finalists from last year, CVC. Bring back 5 starters on each side of the ball. Okay, 11-2 last year. Not a lot back, but enough back to where I think they're a top 25 team, even as D4. Number 24, the team that CVC beat in the semifinals in D4 last year, 38-35, a great game. Cesar Chavez brings just a little bit more back than CVC. I'm going to go with the Titans at number 24. Another D4 team, Golden West, the Trailblazers. They made the quarterfinals in D4, I believe, and lost. But they've got quite a bit coming back from a 7-5 team, and that's a 7-5 team. You can't compare it to the D4 records above that. They played in a tougher league. Mission Oak, perennial contender in D3, we have at 22. And then our first D1 team is the Frontier Titans. There's a handful of D1 teams that are not listed in the top 25. Clovis East, El Diamante. That might be it, actually, as far as D1 teams that aren't listed at all in the top 25, as I'm trying to go through in my head. But
because you got to remember that Garces is D2. So.
Garces is D2. Tulare Union back in D2. So Frontier, our lowest rated D1 team in the top 25, not our lowest rated D1 team overall. But the Titans, I think, could surprise some people, Trevor.
Well, they got a returning quarterback in Greg Youngblood. They've got a big, beefy O-line. And if those guys are technically sound, it's going to open up a lot of holes. And I think that, one thing that Rich Cornford always does, he finds ways to get the best offensive lineman in the area usually. And if that works out again, they'll probably be able to run the ball and pass a little bit.
I think the offensive linemen come to him. I'm not sure he goes out looking for these hosses. I think they just grow them out there near Shafter. Anyway, going on top 20, who's ahead of Frontier? Well, let's go Madera, another very good D3 team from a year ago. They made the semifinals. They put a hurting on South in the quarterfinals. They do lose and his name escapes me now. Their star
Me too.
player.
I want to say Gamboa, but it's not.
Yes, Alec Gamboa.
Yes.
And so they lose him. That's a big loss. He was their quarterback last year. I still think they're going to be pretty good. I have them at 20. Liberty Madera Ranchos, riding an 18-game winning streak, 2-time defending D4 section champions. Very, very good small school team. I would have them higher. The only thing that holds me back, they've only got 3 returning starters. Only 3. I think it's like 2 on offense, 1 on defense, or vice versa. I mean, that's a really low number, but their JVs were 10-0 last year, so Liberty Madera is going to be right there. They are our top-rated Division 4
right
team.
Right there. If you look at that 13-0, that's the one thing that excites me the most about this season is that there is one of those teams that got left out of the state playoffs.
And they're going to get a shot this year.
They're going to get a shot because everybody that went, in this year's format last year, they would have gotten a shot regardless because this year, every section champ throughout the state of California gets to play in a regional game, and then there's 13 state championships this year.
Sure.
2 open games.
Which some people will say waters it down, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? A school like Wasco 3 years ago, they would have taken a shot at a quote-unquote watered-down state championship.
In a state as big as California, having 13 state champions doesn't water down anything.
If Wasco wins a state championship in 2012, they put that sucker on the water tower.
You're darn right. And I don't care if it's
it doesn't matter whether it's D12 or whatever the heck it is.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It is a state championship in California.
Okay, back to the rankings. So Liberty Madera, we have at 19, our top D4 team. Madera up there, by the way, is the number 3 team in D3 preseason. Number 2 in D3, San Joaquin Memorial. They come in at number 18. Of course, they get Garces in the Holy Bowl coming up here in about a month. They play a tough schedule. They play in the CMAC with Edison and Bullard. Stockdale get back into D1, have them at number 17. Another team I think could surprise. And then Central 16, that's as low as they've been in a while. I was looking back at last year. I think they were preseason number 4 for us last year, which was a miss. That was too high. But Central always has athletes, so a couple of more D1 teams for you there.
Zach, you missed?
I know, all the time, man. Another D1 team that's used to being higher in these rankings at number 15 is the Clovis North Broncos. Now, they stumbled a little bit in to the gates last year, and that's why start them down at number 15. That's a team, however, that could be on the rise. D2, let's see, I'm going to make sure that I have this right, but this is our number 5 team in Division 2 preseason. So of those top 14, we're going to have 8 in D1, 5 in D2, and 1 D3 team that we haven't unveiled yet. Lemoore, they went 11-1 last year, by the way, losing only to Hanford, and they are back. They don't bring a whole lot back, but still, 11-1 last year. You got anybody back from that team, you're going to be pretty good. Have them at number 14. D2 team that brings a lot more back that gave Ridgeview an awful scare in the D2 semifinals last year is Sanger. The Apaches are always tough, and they are going to be real good again. They are number 4 team in Division 2. Centennial coming in at number 12. Centennial, I know, Trevor, a team you like a lot.
I do, and the non-league schedule kind of forwards it, and then they get Buchanan in September, if I'm correct. Yes?
That sounds right. No, they play Clovis, don't they?
Clovis. Now, that's the one game that I think that might give them a hiccup.
And I believe they also play Clovis West.
Clovis West, Porterville. I believe they have Menachie on there. You look at that schedule.
Redwood,
and I think Burroughs is also on there. Is that Garces? Tehachapi. You look at that schedule, and then you open up in the SWYL against Garces and
Stockdale.
I want to say Stockdale. And you look at, and that's a team that could be, like 7-1, 6-2, 5-3, heading into that 2-week gauntlet of BHS on October 23rd and Liberty on October 30th. But you look at a team, I mean, that's a team that could really make some waves. Chad Brown's first year. I like Gold Hawks a lot.
I mean, I think
a lot.
If they're 6-1, they'll probably be in the top 10, and then they're going to have to prove it against Bakersfield and Liberty, a couple of teams we haven't seen yet. Also haven't seen a couple of their other opponents yet, Clovis and Clovis West. Back to those rankings, track team number 11, Buchanan. I know, only 3-9 last year, but they had a big win in the playoffs. They beat Bullard in the playoffs, and they bring an awful lot back from that team.
17 starters.
And remember, this was a team that was like 1-9 the year before, and the year before that. They are building something there, and I think Buchanan has an opportunity to be a top 10 team this year. And we have them at number 4, 5, 6, 7 in Division 1, so that could be a team that could get a home game in the playoffs this year. Into the top 10. Centennial, we mentioned, one of their non-conference opponents is Clovis West. Also made the quarterfinals last year. They're our number 6 team in Division 1. Dinuba is our number 3 team in Division 2. And that's exciting. They are a team that very nearly beat Ridgeview in the final last year, 16-14. The Wolfpack took care of the Emperors. Emperors lose a little bit more than Ridgeview does, so we dropped them just a couple of spots to number 9, but they're going to be very good again. Tulare Union, our number 2 team in Division 2, comes in at number 8. Of course, they play in a very tough EYL, and they bring 17 starters back as well, so look out for them. In Division 1, the Fresno Bullard Knights are our number 5 team in Division 1, and a team that could crack into the semifinals. Don Arax, usually his program is not down for more than a couple of years in a row. Well, guess what? They've been in that 6-5 range a couple straight years. I think they bounce back in a big way this year. Then our top team in Division 3 comes in at number 6 overall, the Hanford Bullpups. No team in any division is a bigger favorite than Hanford is in Division 3, and I'm going to stick by that. Division 4, Liberty Madera, they should win it, but they got some challengers, a Golden West, a Chavez, a CVC. D3, it's Hanford and everybody else as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Tehachapi is going to, maybe do some things, but nobody's anywhere near Hanford this year.
Tehachapi's in Division 2 also, so that's going to be a challenge for them. But, those D3 teams, a team like a South High, do they have a good team this year? Yes. Are they a section title contender? In my eyes, not until Hanford shows me that they're vulnerable, which right now I don't think they are. They're 12-1. Okay.
Yeah, and I think South has pretty much kind of solidified themselves as the top D3 team in Kern County, but being the best team in Kern County doesn't win you a section championship.
That's right. And even then, you're going to look at a Wasco and a Bakersfield Christian in that argument as well for top D3 team in Kern County. Okay, Top 5, here we go. Top team in Division 2 is the Ridgeview Wolfpack. They won it all last year in D2, have them favored to do so again. Again, the offensive line is the question with Ridgeview. Then another section champ at number 4, the Edison Tigers. They were the D1 section champ, first big school section championship in school history. Can they repeat? Gosh, they lose an awful lot, but that team is always talented, and Matt Johnson has the ball rolling up there right now.
And there's 4,000 kids on campus.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they will find the talent, and they'll be right in the mix again. Number 3, speaking of teams that are always right in the mix, Bakersfield High School. Kiera Gregg, I think, will be much improved at quarterback. I think the threat of a passing game is going to open up the running game, even though they don't have a Marcus Bruce or Lemicio Hill this year. They're going to get it done with Darius Eaton. They're going to get it done. And then
Desmond Stansel.
That secondary is going to be legit. The line is going to be legit, and that defense should be very good again. I like Bakersfield to challenge for a section title.
And it's an odd year.
And it's an odd year. So that 2005, 2007, 2011, 2013, every single time it's an odd year. Outside of 2009, Bakersfield High has won a section title.
And even in 2009, they
Paul
made
Gola.
the semifinals in D1. So I mean,
yeah, they did make the semis. And I believe in Paul Gola's 10 years there, they made at least the semis 8 of the 10 years. So you can kind of pencil them in.
Yeah, it's like 16-8 in odd years since Gola showed up. And you look at the even years, they're still like 43-14 or something like that. So 43-18.
It's not exactly shabby.
Yeah, it's not like they're up and down all that much. It's just when they're up, they're really up.
And number 2, now I think the top 2, pretty much unanimously across the section, we agree these are the top 2 teams. Just depends on how you want to order them. The Clovis Cougars, 17 starters back. Maybe it's 18 starters back from a good team that had Edison beat in the semifinals last year. They had them down 14-0 halfway through the fourth quarter. Couldn't hang on. They blew the lead. I'm sure that's stuck in their craw all offseason. Boy, do they bring a lot back from that team. Rich Hammond has a good team. One thing Rich Hammond hasn't done in a very successful tenure at Clovis yet is reach a section final. I think that he's going to do it this year. Whether they win it or not might come down to whether they can beat your number 1 team, the Liberty Patriots. 10-3 last year, section finalists. Didn't get it done against Edison. They were tied entering the fourth quarter, but a lot like Clovis, couldn't quite finish off the Tigers. But they bring back a ton from that team. 4 starters on the offensive line. Quarterback Jordan Love. Chris Barnes, you know about. Matt Hubble at receiver. Matt Owens at receiver. And Quincy Jowney is going to run.
Quincy Jowney he's been a backup the last 2 years, but that guy's a 1,500-yard rusher on any other team, his sophomore and junior years.
I don't think they lose. Now, Anthony Mariscal, very good player. They probably lose more with him on defense than they do on offense, because I think Quincy Jowney can step in and fill that role as a running back.
That's the biggest thing is that if anything is going to be kind of the hiccup for Liberty, it's the secondary. You take away Braylon Scott, who's now a DB at Colorado State, Stavros, Katsantonis, and then Anthony Mariscal. That's a lot losing in the secondary, but I think they're going to bring it all back. But you look at everything else, the front 7 is huge. Like we said, the offensive line. And the thing about Liberty is we're going to find out how good they are quickly. Mission Viejo next Saturday, like we said, will be live right here at Bakersfield.com. And then they've got
And then Bakersfield plays Edison the next week. A couple of top 4 teams in those rankings.
They play Ridgeview and they
Liberty
play
plays Ridgeview.
Cathedral Catholic out of San Jose, who's a top 25 team, top 30 team in the state, according to Cal Preps. So, even before they see Bakersfield or anybody in the SWYL, we're going to know pretty quickly if this Liberty team is going to be a state champion contender. And the thing is that one thing that I think people forget, we talked about it in the tab, is that D1, D3, and D5 in the central section is
They're now Northern California divisions. Yep.
So you look at, and that's the biggest thing for me. We talk about it more in the tab. But when you look at D1 in Northern California compared to Southern California, I want to be in Northern California because your biggest rival when it comes to big schools is De La Salle. And if De La Salle does what De La Salle does, they're going to be in the open. So you forget about them. Folsom lost almost every starter off that 16-0 D1 state championship team. They're still going to be good, but if I'm D1, if I'm Edison, BHS, Liberty, Clovis, I want to be in NorCal because there's a better chance to get to the state championship game.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm fired up for it, man. A week away from our preview section. Check it out, August 27th, next Thursday. We're going to be showing it off on the show next week. Next Friday, Wasco at North. Next Saturday, Mission Viejo at Liberty. You can catch that all on Bakersfield.com. We'll be back. And tomorrow night, we're going to be broadcasting a scrimmage on Bakersfield.com. Thanks for reminding me. That is Ridgeview at Centennial.
7 p.m.
At 7 p.m., tune into Bakersfield.com right here.
You and me, buddy.
Trevor and I will be, I don't know if we'll really be play-by-play on that sucker, but we'll be talking football while we show the scrimmage. about that?
Yep.
And I can't wait. Our tab's coming out. Again, reminder, next week's show at 4 o'clock. We'll talk more football. Might throw a few other things in there for you. And we will see you then. Our thanks to Independence Volleyball and Bakersfield Christian Volleyball for coming on today. Our producers, John Farron, Chris McCullough, and Trevor Horn. I'm Zach Ewing.
10 p.m. tonight, guys.
BVarsity
BVarsity
Nightly.
Nightly. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys like it too. So
First chance to get
installment-
highlights anywhere in town right here on Bakersfield.com at 10 o'clock every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, BVarsity Nightly with Trevor Horn. For Trevor, I'm Zach. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Looking deep down the left side, Benton, Winsor, touchdown!